Good evening, and we are here at the state finals coming up on this weekend, Friday and Saturday. And this will be our final show of the 2025 season, as well as we prepare for the state finals, as I said, alongside Eric Dukevich. I'm the coach, Shannon Griffith, and welcome to Upon Further Review on whatever platform you may be joining us tonight, whether if it's on YouTube, by all means, give us a like and a subscribe. But if you're listening to us on Twitter, Facebook, or 1380 The Fan 100.9 FM, we appreciate you being along with us, not just tonight, but all season long, as we get our mindset and wrapped around these state finals, as the two bishops are the two semi-state winners moving on from the Fort Wayne area. We had the Westfield Carroll ball game on Friday night. Dean Pantazzi subbing in for Mr. Brett Rump. I was there in a very bad voice, but got through it. But, dude, it was a game that it was a 14-14 halftime ball game. And if you would have asked Doug Dinan at that point in time to be 14 up with Westfield going into the final two quarters, he probably would have taken it. But for whatever reason, is like I always said, turnovers, and turnovers will beat you each and every time, as Westfield's two scores in the first half were both off of turnovers, and they end up getting another big score off of another turnover.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you mentioned, this game is 14-14 at half, and then Westfield puts it on in the second half, scoring 21 points in the second half to win 35-14. And you know, the turnovers played a big part of that. 3 interceptions for Gabe Freisinger, who really, despite those, played very well. 16 for 24, 201 yards and a touchdown, and then a rushing touchdown as well, 55 yards on the ground. But yeah, those key turnovers, a lost fumble in there, and then also not by Carroll, but and then you know, like I said, the 3 interceptions, and ultimately, you know, we said all along, as we advance in the postseason, you know, the further along you get, the teams become harder and more difficult to play. And I think that bore out on Friday night. We saw that with Carroll and Westfield at Carroll, with Westfield getting some scores in that second half to pull away. And you know, strong showing by Carroll, came out early. They showed some trickeration, if you will, some razzle dazzle, some plays in the book that they hadn't done before. But ultimately, Westfield proved to be too much. A darn good ball club are the Westfield Rocks, who head back down to the state finals for a 6A rematch from a year ago with the South semi-state champion Brownsburg Bulldogs.
Well, their backfield of Deacon King and Aiden Grabowski was just too much. Those two combined for well over 200 of their 275 on the ground. They're very methodical, ball-controlled offense. They're not going to overly wow you with a lot of team speed and move the ball through the air a bunch, but they like to ground and pound. They have their entire left side of the offensive line are 2 D1 commits, one for Kansas, one from OU. The center is the son of Chris Ballard, the Colts GM,
Ballard,
and he's a pretty darn good player himself. So they were a formidable foe up front for this Carroll defense, who had been in pretty good shape all year, but they just could not stop the run enough in that ball game Friday to get them off schedule enough to put them in positions where they had to kick it. And unfortunately, the turnovers, like I said, caught up on Friday night to Gabe and Carroll. But hey, look, another great season by Carroll. They just ran into a team that right now is just playing a little bit better than they are. And that was the key thing, is that Carroll was playing good football, and so was Westfield, and it came down to mistakes, and that's what ultimately decided the game.
Yeah, and if you look at the time of possession too, you know, capitalizing on those mistakes by scores, but also too just, you know, really keeping that Carroll offense on the sideline more. I mean, Westfield ran 20 more plays than Carroll did, clockwise, 28 minutes, nearly 29 minutes of possession time, 10 more minutes, basically how it worked out, 10 more minutes extra possession time for the rocks of Westfield over Carroll. So, but ultimately,
and that was all second half. That
all
was all
second
second
half,
half.
yeah, and first down and continue to move the chain, and really 4 touchdowns there for Deacon King, like you mentioned, and what he was able to do, and another one on the ground by Aiden Grabowski. So Westfield didn't have to get it done on the through the air, and that became the challenge was stopping the run on the offensive side of things. Westfield's offense is from the run side of things, and you mentioned the offensive line play for Westfield, and that proved to be a big difference maker too on that. But you think of the seniors, you go down the list, like guys like Jaden Van Pelt, he's a senior, but everybody else, Bauman's a senior for Carroll, so he's done and all of that. But look at all the guys that they'll have: Gabe Freisinger, Harry Sheely, Jackson Rhodes, a running back. And so lots of playmakers, at least on the offensive side of things. Evan Brubaker, a senior, heck of a career for him. But they get guys like Schlatter back, Lincoln Grabner, who we've had on the team. So up and down this list for this Carroll team, they've got a lot of guys that will, move on, obviously, through graduation, a lot of guys that will come back. But when you have one of those bigger 6A teams, you're going to see quite a bit of that. But Carroll has shown that they're one of those teams and to prove that of who they are is trying to be one of those big boys year in and year out in the state. And I think what they were able to do again this year, just missed out on the SAC, but also to their deep postseason run, knocking off a team like Penn. They've certainly entered that conversation for doing it for a couple of years now over the span of 5 or 6 years.
And they started quick on Friday. They took the opening kickoff and went right down the field and got a score. And Westfield answered, and they came back and scored. I mean, it was one of those things where it looked at first that Carroll was going to put Westfield into a track meet, which would have probably been more beneficial for Carroll than it would have been for Westfield. Like I said, Westfield wants to slow it down, monopolize the time of possession, keep turning out first downs, and play a kind of a slow down, boring type of game, utilizing the run game. And when they were able to just start doing that, it was just a matter of time because Carroll just couldn't get them off schedule. If they would have got them off schedule, it'd have been a different second half. And but like you said, good game from Carroll and their kids and Coach Dinan. Again, just a great year for them. And we go over to Shields Field, not too far away from there, and the Bishop Dwenger Saints get a huge big victory there on Friday night. And the way they got it going was blocking a field goal, if I'm not mistaken, and went back for like 99 yards for a touchdown. So a little bit of a excitement there for Dwenger there in that first half that kind of was one of those games. It was a little nip and tuck there, but then they started pulling away.
Yeah, 28-7, that final score for Dwenger, and defense comes up big again. Casey Piper, probably the name that comes out of this game you mentioned the field goal block for a touchdown, 11 tackles, I think it was. So kind of that shining star, but that entire Dwenger defense and what they've been able to do and kind of slowing everybody down and then letting the offense take the wheel after they get off the field. And that's what's been nice about the Dwenger side, particularly in the second half of the year. Their ability to capitalize on the turnovers, their ability to shorten the game against teams that can run up, a lot of points on the board, like a Carroll or a Northrop, or even in a loss I mentioned earlier, even a loss to Northrop, 21-18 was that final score. So, their ability to come on and kind of almost become an extra defender by that running back by committee style, I think that has proved to be proven dividends for all year long for Dwenger. And here they are back at state, first time in a long time. And, they're going to meet up with Ron Colley, who they met week 1 in that 3-0 loss to Ron Colley in week 1, but the Saints get another crack at the Rebels.
Yeah. And again, I think will be a different Dwenger team that takes on Ron Colley. They can't really draw too much from that first game, but 181 yards on the ground, 4 or 5 different guys carry it, but Ellinger had the biggest 13 carries for 73 yards. Henry Jordan, 9 of 16 for just 63 yards on the night, but had 2 interceptions. So it wasn't his night per se. But don't forget, up until that point, he had been playing really good in the passing game the previous couple of weeks. So I do believe still that Dwenger has enough both offensively in the run pass game to keep teams at bay in terms of just ganging up on them because of what Henry can do. And I do think Coach Garrett feels the same way. But again, the defense is what they've won with. That's what has got them to this point in the year, going for a state championship. It's because of what that defense has done, not just this year, but we saw it last year. They had state championship defense a year ago as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And so a big game all across the board for Dwenger. It looks like we're probably going to get Houston Ellinger from that Dwenger defense on later on to been in touch with him about coming on and talking about the big win. And as they look ahead to state finals, they're on, is it Friday, Saturday?
They are Friday.
Friday. Okay.
Yeah.
So so Dwenger in the 3A. So 1A. No, wait, let me go back.
It's
2A, 4A, 5, 6A is Saturday.
Other way.
Other way.
I'll double check.
2, 4, and 6 is Friday.
Well, that's the kids. They're better than us old men.
They better, yeah, as long as they know what it is. But anyway, yeah, a big win for Dwenger and what they've been able to do this year. And looking at it, first time, first semi-state championship since 2018, first trip to state since 2018, which they also won the state championship then. So, back to Lucas Oil are the Bishop Dwenger Saints, sitting at 12-2, 25.1 points per game scored on the offense, 8.1 on defense. They look tremendous throughout the playoffs, and they head down to state again for that. And Coach, over in 3A, another big winner, Bishop Luers, with, I think, Luers winning and going on to state is maybe not the craziest story or whatever like that, but I think the added element of how they shut down Knox, and specifically how they shut down Miles McLaughlin in that game, I think that has sent a little bit of ripples throughout the state, maybe a little bit nationally with what was at stake for Miles McLaughlin, but ultimately Bishop Luers 35-0 win at home to go back on to their 19th trip to the state championship this weekend.
Yeah. And, I think it goes to show you, and I think you and I talked about this a week ago, and you had asked, why wouldn't a kid like this McLaughlin kid not have, a lot of D1 offers? And part of it is who they've played against most of the year. And they walk into Bishop Luers, who a team like we talk every year that plays in the Summit Athletic Conference. It prepares them to go play at a high level all year long. And when they go on the tourney, they're playing against, people that hadn't faced teams like Snyder or Carroll or some of these other schools. And so they were more prepared to take on a McLaughlin type of player probably than anybody that Knox faced all year because of what they had defensively.
Yeah, absolutely. Knox came in undefeated on the year, one of the better teams. And this is their second ever trip to semi-state was Knox. And of course, they come up short. I think openly 76 yards, I believe, was the final number for Miles McLaughlin, who was he had to get 364 yards to set the national record. Had averaged 366 per game. That Luers defense, I'm sure, knew all about it and shut him down, shut Knox down to win 35-0. That was a big win. And in fact, one of the big players all season long on the defense and offensive side of the ball. Pleased to be joined now as our first guest tonight from the Bishop Luers Knights. He's a senior who plays both ways. His name, Braden Migrant. And we'll add him in here. Braden, are you there tonight?
I am. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us. Well, you heard it just before we came on. I mean, Luers on to state, but also shutting out Knox, shutting out Miles McLaughlin, 35-0. I mean, congrats to you and Luers. Just the excitement from Friday night, what you guys were able to do in such a dominant fashion as you return to the state finals.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty surreal, honestly. Like, last year I went to state as a junior. This year I'm going to state as a senior. But I mean, for being Bishop Luers, I mean, going to states, it's just a standard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Talk about Friday night. I mean, look, there were talks. Oh, Derrick Henry's going to show up, and Miles McLaughlin is going to break the record, and this is the year, and all that. 76 yards at the end of the night. Didn't even come close to that record. I mean, how much of that were you guys tuned into and kind of fueled the fire and stopping him and stopping Knox? Because basically that's what Knox's offense was.
I mean, going into it, I mean, our whole defense, I mean, honestly, our whole team knew that, like, this kid's getting national recognition. Like, I mean, it's pretty surreal. We're gonna have a lot of people there, and it was a pretty packed game. But I mean, we're pretty used to a lot of big crowds, though. I mean, we go to Lucas Oil pretty often. Not to be a little cocky, but so it wasn't really much like it was just more of like the fact that we're gonna have like national people there and stuff like that. I mean, it didn't really get to us much. I mean, all week our coach was saying like, we don't let like records be broken at Bishop Luers Field. Like we're here to shut stuff down. And I mean, back to what I was listening earlier, you guys were talking about he hasn't really played like a team like Bishop Luers. I mean, and that's true. I mean, we have 2 Division I D linemen on our team. And like, I mean, and they ate all day. I mean, our whole defense was just eating all day. So I mean, it was a big moment, but I wouldn't rather it be any other team besides Bishop Luers.
Sure. Talk about that, the defensive side just all season long. I think the offense, which is really shining lately, and you're a part of that too. You kind of play both ways. We'll talk about the offense side a little bit. Defensively, you guys were probably a little bit ahead of the offense with some of the younger guys that came in. A lot of sophomores on that offensive side, and they've come along. Defensively, I think the trench mob we hear about and all of that, what is it like, that Luers defense day in, day out? What has made this team get so much better as the season has gone on, that defensive side of the ball?
I mean, in the beginning of the year, we started pretty slow, obviously. I mean, we were 0-3, which is like, not the best start to a year. And it kind of counted us, like everybody counted us out. And, we love that. We love being counted out because, I mean, it makes us an underdog. It makes us strive to get better. And I think like I was playing linebacker, I'm like in the second row of the defense, and when I have like a defensive front like I have now, I can trust my guys, and I can trust that we're going to get the job done every single play, every single game. And we showed that. I mean, the first 3 weeks, even though, we lost all 3 weeks, but I mean, we held them to pretty low scoring games. And, as a defense, we had to, like in practice, we had to carry the intensity up to the offense. Like we had to switch it around. And as a defense, we had to bring like our intensity to the offense, and we got them going. And I mean, honestly, it was the best running game I've seen out of our offense all year. Last game, on Friday.
Yeah, Braden, let's offensively, you guys were again. The running game was the point on point again this week with Epperson and having another big game that he had in the backfield, and what you guys are able to rush for. I think you guys rushed for almost 258 yards to be exact. So he had 177 on the ground, and Gaither had 81. Both scored a couple touchdowns each, and that was probably the ball game there. So you kind of beat Knox at their own game, running the ball. But now that you're on that challenge, you get to go take on another challenge because you're going to go play Cascade, who is a 14-0 record in the state finals, and it is Friday. You're right, dude. Friday in Indianapolis in the 3A game. I believe that's a 3 p.m. kick. What do you know about Cascade at this point, and what have the coaches been able to share with you? Because it's a short week for you guys because you got I think tomorrow's the banquet and things like that, and then all the things that go into it, plus Thanksgiving on Thursday. So this is going to be a little bit of a crazy week for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much all the teams we played in the playoffs so far have just been like, running the football type of teams. I mean, the only team that really like threw the ball on us kind of was Twin Lakes, but I mean, they like to establish the run too. So I mean, from what I know about Cascade, I think they're an all around good team. But I mean, so far we played teams that like to establish the run, and then I mean, we proved last game we shut down the run. So I mean, I think we're pretty well matched up, but I think that it'll be a pretty good game.
Well, they're a team that's been averaging well over 40 points a game. They won against Gibson Southern, who's a team that also is a darn good team. They beat them 49-34 in the semi-state, and then they had a tough one against Lawrenceburg, but came out of that one 37-33. So this is a team that you can put some points on the board. So it's going to be one of those games again. Defensively speaking, that's your strength of your team. It's probably going to be another game that you guys are going to have to come up big on defense.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much points Knox averaged per game before they came into us, but I'm pretty sure it was pretty high. Twin Lakes averaged, I think, 38 before we played them, and we shut them out pretty well. I mean, we play a lot of teams that average a pretty decent amount of points, but we go in there with the same mindset every time. You know, we just gotta win first down, set the tone early, and after
play
that,
Bishop Luers football. That's all it's about. It's just what we've seen you guys do all year, going back to seeing you guys start off the tourney in that first week, but all through the year that you guys play really good defense, and you've got an offense that can run the ball with efficiency, and Reichert can throw it. I mean, that's the thing that you guys have the ability to do, is to run the ball and throw the ball. And it'll be interesting to see how this matchup plays out on Friday afternoon down there in Lucas Oil. Do you know all the particulars as it pertains for your guys' practice this week, being that it's kind of a junky week in terms of preparation and stuff?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's gonna be pretty similar to last year. We're just gonna go. Got school for 2 days because we got Thanksgiving break. After school, we're probably gonna have practice. I mean, it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be, even with Thanksgiving in the way, pretty normal week of practice. We're gonna have the same intensity every single day. We're gonna bring it every day and work pretty hard.
Talk a little bit about that, because being a group of guys that are seniors this year were a part of last year's tourney run as well. You know, how comfortable you guys feel now knowing kind of what you're facing this week and what's got to get done, as opposed to a team that maybe a year ago that was a little bit of unknown going into this week of practice?
Yeah, I mean, this being our second year in 3A, we kind of know what's to come. Last year, I mean, I guess you could say we didn't really know what was to come, but this year, since we lost last year, but we're coming back, and we knew we were going to come back. I mean, we had that mindset at the beginning of the year, and now that we know what we have to face, I think we're going to be even more ready than we were last year.
No question. I mean, that's the beauty of what gives you this type of year that you guys have had, kind of been there, done that, and you're going to face a very good quarterback in Trabely. I think it's how you pronounce his name, but he's thrown for almost 2,000 yards this year, and an offense too that's rushed. I mean, they've rushed for over 4,000. So you're going to see another 4,000 yard team that rushes the ball, but this guy will be a little bit different. But I like the fact that you guys have been there, done that, and how you guys have played this year, because I think you're playing your best ball at the right time.
Yeah, that's kind of honestly how our seniors expected how the season would go. And we had our ups and downs in the regular season, but when we get to playoffs, our coach's first thing we say first week is 0-0. I mean, we're 0-0.
Absolutely.
And that's how we view every other team we play. I mean, week 2 of playoffs, we played Norwell. They're 2-0. I mean, we had to play in the same way we play every other school, and we don't let up based off of the level of team we play. And Cascade, the record is 14-0, but they're 4-0 right now. It was
just like you guys.
5-0. Yep.
Yeah, just like you guys. Absolutely, kid.
Yeah. Hey, Braden, the offensive side of it for you, a new wrinkle this year. You've gotten a couple reps in the backfield as a running back, a couple catches. I think 6 total offensive touchdowns. How fun has that been as a senior to be kind of thrown into the offensive mix? Usually a linebacker by your part, but to have a chance to find pay dirt on the offensive side of things.
I mean, it's really fun, honestly. Defense, the way I view it is offense is more fun, or is fun, and defense is more serious, which is kind of how everybody views it. But I mean, going on the offensive side, I mean, I get to bring some sort of leadership there, and bring more smiles to the offense, get in the huddle, crack a few jokes, get our offense loosened up a little bit, and then when they throw me in for a little touchdown, I mean, that's always fun.
Sure. What's next for you after you're a senior this year? What does the future look like after you graduate from Bishop Luers High School?
I'm gonna try to go to college. I mean, I've applied a few places. I think I might try to walk on at Grand Valley State. Um, you know, play a little college football is what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, there you go. Well, it's been an exciting run to watch you guys. That run continues now as you guys head to Lucas Oil Stadium in the 3-8 state championship on Friday afternoon at 3 o'clock versus Cascade out of the South. Best of luck to you and the Bishop Luers Knights. We'll certainly be watching here, and we'll see what happens. And good luck and at the state finals on Friday.
All right, thank you so much.
All right, thanks so much. That was Braden Migrant, senior running back, linebacker, I guess linebacker / running back from the Bishop Luers Knights. And Coach, we saw Luers in week 1 and what they have been able to do offensively. Epperson, Gaither, the 2 sophomore running backs, and you have sophomore quarterbacks that kind of had split reps for most of the year. Reichert has kind of become the guy there, so to speak, but a lot of talented players. You think of Jonas Muya, the offensive lineman who's from the Congo, who's getting D1 offers, never played football before this year, getting national attention himself. This is a really interesting team to see what's come out on the other side from week 1 that we saw against Leo in these Bishop Luers Knights.
Yeah, we said, I always feel that Coach there does a great job with the talent that he has, and it usually takes him a few weeks to figure out what he truly has. And once he figures that out, they really play to their positives on the year, and they've done it again in that respect. And they've used their schedule to help prep them for, the tournament aspect of things. And, they're going to go face a big time. This Cascade team is going to be a big challenge for them. They've got 2,000-yard rushers, a kid that's thrown for 2,000 yards. And, this is going to be a big test for them defensively to try to, again, shut down a prolific offense and try to put themselves in the best position to win on Friday afternoon.
Yeah, absolutely. A banner year for Cascade, too. I mean, this is their second sectional in school history, joining 1992, first regional, first semi-state, first time ever at the state finals out of Clayton, Indiana, way down south. So I'm sure the whole town, the whole county, everybody that is involved with Cascade athletics and all of that will be there. Just looking at the map, wasn't sure exactly where it was, but it's in the South semi-state. It's actually south over near Bloomington. So
yeah,
south
it's over
of
in that area. Yep.
In that general vicinity. A nice, not too far from Indianapolis, but obviously congrats to that team. I mean, what they've been able to do to finally get it, doing it at 14-0. But like I said, Luers has been able to prove that they've faced a lot of tough, undefeated competition, and they've shut them down. They'll see if they can do it again on Friday night in the 3A state championship. Well, Coach, we're up against our first break. When we come back, we'll talk about Bishop Dwenger and their state finals opponent. We'll be joined by Houston Ellinger, another talented Saint on a team that's heading back to state, right here on Upon Further Review on 1380 The Fan, 100.9 FM.
Welcome back to Upon Further Review here on 1380 The Fan, 100.9 FM. Gotta love technology, baby. But again, we're going to be joined by a young man that's led this Bishop Dwenger Saints attack all year long on both sides of the ball, for that matter, Eric. But again, the city of Fort Wayne has the Bishops in the state finals. I don't know when the last time that may have happened. That may be a good trivia question with these two teams.
Probably not all been that long. The way these
probably hasn't been that long ago. That's correct.
I'll double check for sure.
Double check on that one. But again, another big win on Friday night against South Bend St. Joe Huskies. They're at Shields Field, 28-7. And the young man we're going to bring on had 73 yards on the ground and a TD. There he is, Mr. Houston Ellinger. Big game, big
Thanksgiving dinner. It looks like
right. He's ready.
In front of him.
He's sitting there ready to demolish some food for his own self there. But another big game for you guys, and another big win there at Shields Field in front of the hometown faithful. Now you get a chance to head down to Indianapolis to take on Ron Colley in the state finals on Saturday afternoon at 3:00. Eric, you usually leading this off, so I'm going to let you start it off because you're a little bit better prepared than I am when we get to this stuff. But we'll let you have your conversation, and I'll jump back in a little bit later there, Houston.
Well, yeah, first of all, I mean, congrats to you guys getting back to state. First time since 2018.
Thank you.
What was that like on Friday night to be that team in that moment to get Dwenger back to state and an opportunity to win a state championship next weekend?
It was pretty surreal to finally know for sure that we're going. I mean, we've talked about it since, I was in 5th grade playing with all my guys that our senior year, it's the year that we're going to go. And so to finally have the feeling that we're going, we punched the ticket. It still hasn't even settled in. I can't believe it.
Yeah. The defense has been a big part all year long. Winning the SAC championship, we continually go back to that Carroll game 9-6 and the ability for you guys to kind of slow them down and even against Northrop, 21-18, which Northrop may have beaten you guys, but putting up a lot of points that year. Talk about the defensive side where you've had a big postseason yourself. I mean, what has been kind of that secret success for the Dwenger defense, or maybe not so secret? What has been so good about this defense that has helped this team put up what they've been able to do on the defensive side of the ball?
Well, for us, we really just kind of harp on physicality. There's a lot of guys out there who don't like to get hit repeatedly. And so if we can, keep hitting those guys hard, then they're not going to want to keep coming. It throws them off their game. So that's kind of been our thing, just physicality. And I mean, we have what I think is the best coach in the state, Coach Nepper. He's phenomenal, and he's been with us since sophomore year, playing Brownsburg, playing Moeller, and kind of going through the juggernauts to prepare ourselves for this year, and it's paid off. And so, yeah, physicality's really been our key. And, that's kind of what we've just carried ourselves by.
Sure. And you're a big part of the offensive side of things. That running back by committee, I call it the running back by family in a lot of ways too. But that element, it's not one of those where you're going to have one guy break off and get 150 yards every game and 3 touchdowns and lead the SAC in rushing. But that solid ground and pound game by Shefferly and Gus Tipman, and you get thrown in there, and Colin and some of the other guys in there. I mean, talk about that. How the offense has grown, because I think that's really helped Henry Jordan, because we're seeing him play his best ball in all his years at Dwenger, being healthy as well. This offense, how it's grown over the years. Just talk a little bit about that throughout the season.
Yeah, I mean, we know that our defense has been kind of the powerhouse of our team at the beginning of the year, and so we don't care on offense who gets the credit. We just need to score points, because we know that if we score 2-3 touchdowns, the game's looking in our favor. So it's really just being humble. We don't care who gets the credit. We don't care who gets in the end zone, but we're all gonna put our best effort in to get the first down when we need it, or get 8 yards on a carry when we really need it. And if I get 20 yards on a carry and then AJ comes in and scores, then I'm as happy as can be, because we just need points. And same with all the other guys, Gus and Colin. I mean, Gus was injured for a while, comes back, and he's fighting in there, getting in the rotation more, and he had a great game Friday. And then he goes down, he marches us down to the 5. AJ gets in, and we run dive, and he gets in the end zone. So it's really just whatever we can do to get in the end zone, and it's not about who's getting the glory. We just want to win football games and stay together.
Yeah, it sounds like a good Bishop Dwenger answer right there. Coach Garrett would be proud of that answer, but it's true. You're exactly positively correct in that assessment of you guys, and that's how we would assess you as well. It's a bunch of guys that buy into what you are doing on offense and defense, and you guys have been producing at a high level all year long. In playing some teams too, De La Salle up in Toledo and some other of these schools that you've played throughout the year. Defensively, you guys have had a defense now for probably 2 years. It's probably been what I call a state caliber defense that you've had. What makes your defense so dominant, would you say, Houston? Because you've got 3 guys that have over 100 total tackles on the year, and you're right there as well in total tackles. But it's pretty amazing to have that spread amongst you guys like it is. And that's why, I mean, your defense has just been phenomenal.
It's kind of just a fighting mentality. Like it's a brotherhood. Like I said, we've known each other since we were little kids. You know, playing backyard football, tackling each other, and so to go out there and be able to hit some other guys and us all be on the same team, it's like we're going to war together. It's just the fighting mentality. Like just if someone doesn't make the tackle, I will, and I know if I get blocked or I'm not there to make a tackle, my guys will. So it's really just we're all there for each other, and it's just the physicality that we have. All the guys are flying to the football and just there to make the tackle as physical as they can be.
Now, Saturday, you get the rematch of the Roncalli game, first game of the year. So you really can't try to compare and contrast the two because it was such a long time ago. It was a 3-0 ball game. So it was, it was one of those games where the defense has really kind of dominated the night. They got a quarterback named Ash. He's thrown for over 1,800 yards, and he's also rushed for 1,000 yards as well. So you got a quarterback that can do it both on the ground and in the air. What will you take away from that first meeting going into this second meeting against the team that you played so long ago? It almost seems like 2 years ago, because of the season the way it is. What do you guys will take out of that first game of the year?
Well, obviously, it's kind of like a little bit of a revenge mentality because we drove down there. We started the year 0-1, which isn't what you want, but we were battling injuries week one, and we've gotten healthier, so that's huge for us. And just the tradition that goes back between Dwenger and Roncalli really means a lot to us. We beat them in the 2002, or we lost to them in the 2002 state finals, and we have some coaches who were on that team. So I mean, they're telling us the stories, we hear everything. So it's really just for all the alumni, and there's a lot of fight going into it because I mean they lost to them, and we really look up to our alumni, and then we lost to them week one. So I mean, we got a little bit of anger in our hearts that we really want to go earn that back on Saturday.
Right. And talk a little bit about kind of what you guys' preparation will be this week, knowing that you kind of pick up an extra day with it being a Saturday contest, but the holiday and things like that. Have you guys kind of got a breakdown of what your schedule is like this week for practice and such?
Yeah, well, we know we're going to go down to Lucas Oil, I think on Wednesday, and so that'll be exciting. And I mean, obviously it's indoor, so hydrating is going to be a huge thing this week. But really, just focusing in this week, I mean, it's more of a mental preparation week than anything because not having school with Thanksgiving and then the game being on a Saturday and at 3 p.m. is a lot different than what we're used to. But our main thing will just be focus because there's going to be a lot of distractions this week. But I mean, we have one goal in mind, so we're all just going to stick together and stay focused and get that job done.
Well,
yeah. Well, and the resurgence of Dwenger this year, a lot of seniors, a lot of family members, a lot of cousins. I know you're of the Tipman family from your mom's side. Talk about what Dwenger football has meant to you and really just your growth over the years, your family, your brother has played through there and all of that. And your cousin. I mean, what does Dwenger football mean to you and to your family?
I mean, it means the absolute world to me. I was a ball boy on the 2018 team, so I was down there. I actually did get a walk out of the tunnel, but Dwenger football means the world to me. My brother's state jersey's hanging right there. And so, I mean, it's everything to me. It's what I've dreamt of since I was a little kid. And just to be able to actually go down and know that I get to play in Lucas Oil just like my dad did, just like my brother did, it couldn't mean more to me. It's the world.
Absolutely. What's next for you after you graduate from Bishop Dwenger High School?
Well, I'm still kind of deciding right now. I have 3 offers right now. Indiana Wesleyan, Valpo University, and then Adrian, but I'm kind of just still deciding. I don't know what I'm going to do yet if I'd rather try to walk on maybe at like a MAC school or just see kind of what the recruiting will look like for me after the season. But my recruiting process, it's been hard, but I've had a lot of good coaches communicating with me. I couldn't be happier with the coaches that have been recruiting me. So just kind of still deciding, really just focused on this week, and then I'll probably focus on that a little bit more. But I do want to play college football. I'm not exactly sure where yet, but
there you go. That recruiting process, real quick. How has that, the feedback you get from different coaches, different levels, how has that made you a better football player, hearing what they tell you and what you need to work on and what you're good at and all of that? That process, how has it benefited you as a football player?
It really just builds my confidence, to be honest. I mean, to know that they think I'm good enough to play at the next level really boosts my confidence. And so when I'm out there and knowing that I'm among the best players out here, if I'm getting recruited, then it really helps my confidence out there, knowing that I belong and then I could help my team win. And yeah, all the coaches are fantastic. I couldn't be more thankful for them recruiting me, thinking I'm good enough to play at the next level. So it's been fun. I saw my brother get to do it, and I always thought it was the coolest thing ever. So to be able to get recruited, it's a blessing, and I really enjoy the process.
Absolutely. Well, it's been fun to watch you and watch this entire Dwenger team throughout the year. As the Bishop Dwenger Saints head back to the state championship, they will face Ron Colley in the 4A state championship. Houston Ellinger, thanks so much for joining us tonight. Good luck to you and to your Bishop Dwenger Saints at state this weekend.
Thank you. Thank you guys for having me.
All right. Take care. That was Houston Ellinger, senior, safety and running back, another guy that has played on both ways. And, you know, he's a dynamic player, but I think he's just a great example of what Dwenger football is and what it means to so many kids and so many families across the area. He talked about it. His brother played, his dad played. He has assistant coaches who lost to Ron Colley in the state championship in 2002. And of course, Dwenger beat Ron Colley in the 1983 state championship. I did look that up. And so I'm sure a lot of people will be there remembering that one as well. So this is big because it's been a long time since Dwenger's been to state, and with some 5-5 years and 6-6 years is in there. Now they're 12-2, back to kind of where we think Dwenger football generally is.
Yeah, they've had 2 years really back to back where they've been really good, and like I said, they've had a defense that's been a state caliber defense over the last couple of years. Yeah, there's a tradition at Bishop Dwenger that, you know, that goes way back. I mean, you just named a few of those, and back to when I was playing, and that is, you know, the moniker of that Dwenger team. And, you know, Houston kind of alluded to that aspect of, you know, Bishop Dwenger was always the team that you knew you better strap it up because you were going to get tattooed a couple times because they like to hit. And that's kind of what they've always, you know, built their foundation on, is that tough as nails team that was going to be sound defensively, get after you, and then an offense that likes to go downhill. So, you know, that's a tradition that they've had, and it's kind of bred into them. I mean, in some respects, they come out that way, going all the way up through their elementary schools and middle school and getting to the high school level. You know, they're taught about that way. And I think that's what pays off for them in a lot of ways when they get those kids at that high school level. But yeah, this will be another good state final game against two teams that are probably like-minded, good defenses, offenses that do it different ways. But we'll see what Dwenger can muster up. Their defense, like, I think they've also been a team that's kind of peaked at the right time as well.
Absolutely. And to go back to the trivia question earlier in the show, the last two times, the last time that both bishops from Fort Wayne, Bishop Dwenger, Bishop Luers, went to the state finals was 2010.
So not too long ago.
Yeah, both of them went down there. And I'm trying to think. I think Luers won that. Yeah, Luers won state. Dwenger lost, but both of them were there in that year. So history made yet again, as both of those teams, both of the bishops, will be down at Lucas Oil Stadium for the state championships on Friday and Saturday. They're in 3:00 games, Friday for Luers, Saturday for Dwenger. Good luck to all those teams. Well, we're up against our next break here on the show. When we come back, we'll talk more about the state finals coming up, some of the other games from Friday in the semi-state round that didn't turn out so good for some of our local teams, but also look ahead towards the state finals this weekend. You're listening to Upon Further Review right here on 1380 The Fan, 100.9 FM.
Welcome back here to Upon Further Review here on 1380 The Fan, 100.9 FM, as well as other platforms you are joining us by this evening. Alongside Eric Dukevich, I'm the coach, Shannon Griffith. Just had an opportunity to talk Houston Ellinger from Bishop Dwenger, who will face off against the Ron Colley Rebels down there in Lucas Oil on Saturday afternoon. And we've talked about two teams that had, the great fortune of capturing a win and getting to the state final game. Of course, we talked about Carroll earlier because that was the Midwest Box Breaks high school football game of the week against Westfield. But two other teams out of the Northeast Indiana area, Adams Central, who went on the road to Andrean, and then South Adams, who hosted Pioneer, both those ball clubs. But Adams Central kind of ran into a buzzsaw up there at Andrean, and a very good Andrean team that it was going to be tough for them to get by. And I think that ultimately played out there at Andrean on Friday night.
Yeah, and I think for Adams Central, it also became the bout of turnovers that we are not accustomed to seeing from those Flying Jets. I think, they go down and score in their opening drive, but then after that, they get a blocked punt, lost fumble, interception. So they had some turnovers that are not characteristic of what we had of Adams Central. But, Andrean, a very good ball team. These two teams played in the semi-state a year ago. Adams Central, came out with the win there, a 20-13 victory. That was probably Adams Central's closest game really in the last year. So I think it's something along the lines of a 27-game winning streak snapped. And obviously, Adams Central, we always say, is the team to beat. Who's going to be the team? And to be the team, to be the best team, you got to beat the best team. Andrean has done that and knocked it off. But what a run it was for Adams Central. 4 straight state championships. They were going for state championships appearances. They got the state title a year ago. They were going for 2 in a row and 5 straight appearances in a row. Came up a little short there, 24-19. And this was a game that was, I think it was 17-6 at half and 24-12 at the end of the third. There was some controversy over a call. I've seen some pictures of it. Somebody just tweeted us and Pat McAfee and all of that of showing a picture of what appears to maybe be a first down call that was ruled a fourth down or whatever. So at the end of the day, there's no review in high school like you see in college and the NFL. So whatever the call is. But ultimately, it was more than just that one play. I think ultimately the decided that one. But Adams Central comes up a little short. But what that group of seniors, and there's a lot of guys that aren't seniors that will be back next year. What they can look about is this run that they've had has been tremendous. And in some respects, is probably still going into next year, even though they fell short of getting back down there to Lucas Oil.
Yeah, I mean they'll take something from this season. Again, we've always said that there's no they just retool. I mean, it's kind of one of those things that they've been able to do over and over again, and they'll have a lot of people back again this next year, but there'll be a lot of good players that graduate just like every year there at Adams Central. But yeah, a tough game up there. They really held them. I mean, I don't think Andrean, just kind of dominated. I think it was what you just said there. It was the turnovers. It was the block. And that's what happens when you get 2 equally matched teams. It's usually something in the special teams or turnovers that loses you the ball game. And that's what happened there to Adams Central.
Yeah, absolutely. And over in the 1A semi-state out of the north, Pioneer versus South Adams. Pioneer's just run game. I mean, just tremendous. And like we've talked about it with like McLaughlin and Knox, and we've seen it out of North Miami a week ago when South Adams played them. And we're talking about it, some of the other teams that Mississinawas of the world. Pioneer is really strong. And they kind of cruise past South Adams to go on to the state championship in Class 1A. Pioneer, kind of that mid-central Indiana team that is going for their 3rd state title in like 10 years. So their head coach, Adam Berry, in fact, he played there. He's in his 10th season, just cracked 100 wins. He now 101. If he gets 102 wins, he'll have 3 state championships over 102 wins. So if they win on Friday. So that Pioneer Panthers team, a run heavy offense that has a lot more than just one player doing it. And I think that was really tough for the South Adams Starfires to really get any hold on to stay in that game.
Yeah, they had 375 yards on the ground against South Adams, 61 total plays ran on the ground. So it was probably almost every play is only threw 3 passes on the night. So again, a team probably very similar into what Adams Central likes to do. And if you can't get them off schedule, it's good luck. You're not going to have a good success against them. So, but again, it was good to see that the Starfires got themselves back to, deep run in the playoffs, and these will all pay dividends for them at some point. And, we'll have to wait and see what all that transitions into in years to come. But another good year by both Adams Central and South Adams.
Yeah, Ty Lehman, their quarterback at South Adams, 3,100 yards, 36 passing touchdowns, 13 INTs. Also had 4 rushing touchdowns on the ground. Will Patterson will be back next year. Bomber, a running back, will be Wesley Somerset will be back as a wide receiver. So a lot of playmakers come back from a team that has been to semi-state twice now for South Adams. Watch out. I think that Adams Central South Adams game already is kind of circle one on the calendar in 2026. So it should be fun to see what happens with those two teams in the future. And, that leads us to the state finals in another year. We got Bishop Dwenger, Bishop Luers, and it should be a fun way to wrap up the year with 2 Fort Wayne schools, 2 bishops, 2 SAC schools down back at Lucas Oil Stadium.
Yeah, it'll be a good one to see because right now, even through John Harold's site, he's got them both as underdogs in this contest. And, Roncalli's 11-3 on the year and Dwenger 12-2. So 2 evenly matched teams as we saw earlier in the season. And of course, Cascade is undefeated. And so Bishop Luers will have their hands full in that ball game. But it'll be interesting to see both these teams compete and see what all happens there on Friday and Saturday in Lucas Oil Stadium.
Yeah, absolutely. The other games in our area, real quest, in the 5A game, Maryville versus New Pal. That should be a good one. Maryville going to their first ever state finals appearance. So Fort Wayne has 2 schools. This Maryville, where Andrean is from, they also have 2 schools state championship. Congratulations to the Maryville Pirates on getting it. I know they come up against some tough Snyder teams, Valparaiso in there over the years. So good for them. Cascade making their first trip in Class 3A. They'll play Luers. That's the 3:00 game on Friday. And then Pioneer and South Putnam. Pioneer going for another state championship. South Putnam at 12-2. Their last state this is their first semi-state since 2002. Last and only state title was 1986. So been a long time for South Putnam as well. And then over on the Saturday games, we start with Andrean against Brownstown Central and the 11:00 2A game. Bishop Dwenger at Indianapolis Roncalli, like we mentioned. And then Westfield Brownsburg, a rematch of the 6A game a year ago where Brownsburg won that one. So Westfield trying to get back out on top of that after beating Carroll in the semi-state. So that pretty much wraps it up and what the schedule will look like for state finals weekend. We certainly wish the best to Bishop Dwenger and Bishop Luers and congratulate all the teams down there and all the teams for all their success this year. It's been a fun one, Coach. I can't believe another season coming to an end as the state finals approach this Thanksgiving weekend.
Well, it always does go fast, and that's why football's so unique because you only get so many contests, and it's not a sport where you're going to play 20, 25 games. So you got to make the best out of each and every week because it goes real quick. And congrats again to those schools and coaches that had a big weekend and got down to state, and those schools that came up short. It's been a pleasure all year covering them on 1380 The Fan, 100.9 FM, and we'll look to do it again next year as well.
Absolutely. Well, it's been a fun year. Thanks so much for all of our guests all season long, from the players and the coaches, and for all the athletic directors who have worked with us so we can come out to the games. 1380 The Fan, 100.9 FM for adding us to their lineup every Wednesday night throughout the season. Really grateful. And thanks for everyone who's watched on YouTube, on Facebook, Twitter, and listened anywhere in the world that you get podcasts. For the coach, Shannon Griffith, I'm Eric Dudkevich. This has been Upon Further Review for the season of 2025. Best of luck to all the teams at the state finals, and we will see you next fall.